Welcome to Untethered Homestead. This is Ray, and I'd like to talk to you about and show you a video on a project that I did in East Alabama. It is a stick-built framing with elements of log construction. What that entails is the using the logs whenever possible in the building. These two logs are the main timbers in this house. This log is 20, the one to the right is 27 feet, and the one on the left was 18 feet. These will become part of the carrying timbers posts, and we started off in a log yard with them where we had to clean them down the best we could before we took them to the job. We like to get them power washed as much as we can, and that way we're able to keep the bugs and as much of the bugs off the logs as possible. We were able to use this piece of equipment on the project, which really came in handy to move these timbers around, get them located on the trailer for transport. We didn't have to go very far with them because of the back roads and the driveways that we had to go down. It was very difficult to get these on and be able to make the turns in and out of the driveways and get them to the project. So this piece of equipment, this Prentice cherry picker, came in very handy to move them where we needed to on a trailer. And if we needed to relocate them, the cherry picker followed us to the project. And if we needed to relocate them on the side of the road, we could even do that to get down the driveway. This was a father and son that live in this house, and they were gracious to be able to come out and allow us to do this work and use the elements of logs in their house. I didn't take much convincing. They're both loggers, three generations of loggers. And they were excited to use some of the logs off their own property to complete this task. And you'll see as we get to the more into the house, you'll see some more logs that were cut off the property that we're working on. Unfortunately, before we got these timbers on site, it rained on us. And being in Alabama, there's a lot of red clay, and we ended up muscling a lot of the stuff into the basement by hand. We did get the trailer down eventually with the help of the bulldozer, and we were able to get them unloaded. We had to do this between the rainstorms. It was sunny out one minute, and the next minute it was pouring. So we had to work in the red clay. So we did finally get the Prentice down, the cherry picker, and we're able to move the logs accordingly to where we needed to work on them. These logs sat here trying to dry them out so we could move them into place and start working on them. Eventually, it got too wet to have the cherry picker on the project, so we had to take the bulldozer while we still could and push it off the project. And from there on, it was all work done by hand. These saw horses were specially made for this project so we could work on this timber in place. We started off by leveling the first off the top, the 6 inches of the top, that we could put a 1x6 board on top, rough lumber on top, glued and screwed to the top of this cedar post, a cedar carrying timber, and that way it would carry the floor joists when they were to go in. We lifted this up one end at a time, securing one end as we lifted the other, and then securing the opposite end while we lifted the other end of it. So they were 18 inches on one end, 14 inches on the other end. So as we lifted, we had to keep it plumb and level so it would not roll off the jacks and it would not roll off our supports that we had as it lifted. We had to go 10 feet to the top of the timber, carrying timber, to line it up with the top of the foundation, not just with the foundation, but this had to be lined up with the sills on the walls. And with a little doing, the task was done in under about 8 hours. It took us to complete the task of getting it up and getting it secured into place. I was fortunate to have a couple of friends come and help out on this project, just volunteer their time to be involved. It's a good friend of mine, Mike, and he spent a few days with me just kind of overseeing and being the help that was needed to get this beam up in the air. It took a little time and a little strategy to keep it up and keep it straight with putting it up by hand. Of course, we had no equipment. We couldn't get any equipment in on the job. There was no backfill around the foundation, so we couldn't get close to the job up top with the cherry picker. So it was pretty much hands-on. But eventually it came into place. We raised it up to the top of the 1x6 was even with the top of the foundation sill plate and was secured there and ready for the next part of the project, which was the floor joists, the walls in the basement. And you will be seeing that on the next part of my video. And I would like to thank you for watching this video. I hope it's interesting to you. I found it interesting to do the work. And I ask that you would maybe stay tuned for the next one to see just how this project was brought together and the elements that worked out for this house project. It's a pretty big house and was fairly easy, fairly simple to accomplish these tasks. It was just one task at a time. And with help, a lot of volunteer help that came to help the pastor, we were able to accomplish it. So thank you for joining me on Untethered Homestead, and I hope to see you on the next video.